For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live, because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to OBX Today live for January 26, 2022, presented by Gallup Funeral Services. I'm Sam Walker. Glad to have you along with us on this Wednesday morning. Well, looks like winter is coming back. The latest from the National Weather Service. Yeah, we're going to see a little bit more snow. Probably kind of like what we saw last week, but not to the amount of snow. But it's going to be kind of the same scenario that we had a week ago. Just not as early with the precipitation. This is going to be more of the classic nor'easter. We're talking about a major nor'easter hitting north of us, mid-Atlantic, on up to New England, Cape Cod especially. This is going to be probably a hurricane-force nor'easter once it gets up there. And it's the classic setup of a low that forms off the Outer Banks. Gets us with some wind and rain and then some snow on the backside and inland areas. The beach is probably going to see a pretty decent amount of wave action. It's going to get rough surf. And then it's going to sprint off to the north. And by Saturday, it'll be out of here. But it's going to have some pretty lasting impacts. And those of you who join us from up in New England and the Mid-Atlantic, here on OBX Today Live, you guys are kind of in the target of this one, to say the least. But we are looking at some winter weather impacts, especially for the mainland areas. Let's get you what the latest briefing is from the National Weather Service in Wakefield, because this really looks like it's going to be more of an inland event as far as the snowfall goes. We do have a little bit coming out from Newport Morehead City. Expect maybe by midday to this afternoon, they'll have a better idea. This is going to be, we're still in that, 48 hours out before the system itself even develops. And when you see what the models are talking about, you'll be able to get a better idea of what I'm saying if you're not familiar with how a classic nor'easter works, at least as far as Diamond Shoals being the birthplace of a storm system of this nature. So here is what the National Weather Service has put out from Wakefield. This is a briefing that just came out at 7 o'clock this morning. Here's our total snowfalls. Let me get those lower thirds out of the way and switch to our bug graphic. There you go. Yep. Looking at possibly a 2 to 3 inch snow event for Elizabeth City for Friday night into Saturday morning. The farther north and west you go, the better chance at accumulating snow. with this system. Looks like Suffolk, Isle of Wight County on up to Williamsburg and the peninsula and on up to the northern neck, Gloucester, and those areas are going to get the snow. And along the eastern shore, that's going to be the heaviest amounts of snow up along the eastern shore of Virginia and Maryland, and right on out to I-95. Here locally for us in northeast North Carolina, it's going to be about a 2 to 3 inch event from Windsor to Currituck, northern Currituck. Probably going to see the heaviest of snow, and then you'll have that marked cutoff south of Coinjock. I'm right on the border again, as it gets down to 1 to 2 inches. Now, what does that mean as far as the beaches? We'll get to that in a second. I want to concentrate on this briefing. Since Wakefield's got the briefing out, we're going to concentrate on what they're saying. The high end, yeah, that's really probably way above. That's just a 1 in 10 chance of something along those lines of 5 inches, 3 to 5 inches for much of northeast North Carolina, maybe 6 to 7 inches in Hampton Roads, 10 inches for Richmond and the I-95 corridor, and on. That's just the high end of the possibilities. Really, this is probably the more legitimate forecast as far as snow goes. Wind gusts, looking at probably in the 30s, high as the 30s to around 40, 45 up along the eastern shore and Virginia Beach. 30, the high wind gusts here in Currituck, Camden, parts of Pasquotank, closest to the water. Closer to water to go, the higher the winds are going to be. On the waters, we're probably looking at 7 to 10 foot waves on the ocean side, 40 to 50 knot gusts on the ocean as well. So its confidence continues to increase in most of the area. North of the Albemarle Sound is going to receive accumulating snow Friday night through Saturday afternoon. Heavy snow, high winds if possible, especially for locations east of I-95. And we do have that gale conditions likely Friday night through Saturday night for the coastal waters. Now, here is what Newport Morehead City's thinking. This looks very familiar to, similar to what we saw on Friday night and Saturday morning last week, just not as high amounts of snow inland, but on the beaches, probably a 1 to 2 inch event for north of Nags Head, around an inch in Manio or less, and nothing on Hatteras Island. So really the snowfall would be north of Oregon Inlet, and the farther north you go, the higher amounts you will see. Back off over all the US 64 corridor, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, on out as you get inland towards I-95. So really Friday night is when it changes over. We'll start out as rain, change over to snow overnight, and then wrap up as snow as you get through the morning on Saturday. So very similar to the timing that we saw last week, but not to the severity of the snowfall. So the 3 questions right now, this was from yesterday afternoon from Morehead City, is how fast does the cold air move in? How long does the precipitation linger? And how close does the low track? The closer it tracks, the more likely we are in a rain event much longer. The farther it gets offshore is better chance of that wraparound moisture and the colder air coming in for south of the Albemarle Sound. Still looks like the highest risk of snow is along the Albemarle Sound and north. Very typical, very similar tracks that we've seen over the years with nor'easters of this nature. Now, this is from the National Weather Service, their 24-hour probability of snowfall accumulating above or at or above 4 inches. The highest chance of that does appear to be southeastern Virginia, and then the chances really drop off the closer you get to the ocean, and then kind of the same thing the farther south you go, back off towards Raleigh and along I-85. This really looks like it's going to be us as far as the target goes for North Carolina. Really, when you look at that map, the best chance of the highest snowfall accumulations are out towards Roanoke Rapids. Again, all this is setting up as a classic nor'easter. I've seen it referenced on Twitter as an I-95 hammer, and the I-95 corridor north of us is going to get hammered. This is the GFS run that came out at midnight. The latest GFS at midnight. Let's see. Yeah. That's the latest one. We'll get another run on this coming up in just a little bit, not too long, or at least we should get the data on. But this gives a good idea. The models have been pretty solid as far as what this storm's going to do. There's the low appearing, starting to appear. All right, I'm trying to figure out okay. So this would be what we're looking at 6 a.m. on Friday. A little bit of disturbed weather off of the Georgia, South Carolina coast out into the Atlantic over the Gulf Stream. Then by mid-afternoon Friday, the low appears pretty, 10, 11 on the millibars. I could zoom down a little bit more on this to give you a better view. Yeah, here we go. We can do this now. All right. So there's the low. This again is Friday afternoon. Low forms up offshore. Then it comes closer to shore off of Charleston and it begins its cyclogenesis, is what the technical term on this is. It starts to get ramped up. You can see the rain starting up for us, a little heavier rain for Hatteras and Ocracoke as the low inches its way closer to shore. By Saturday at midnight, it's in a full blast. This thing is going to bomb out quickly off our coast. And this is midnight. GFS thinking there's the snowfall changing, a rain changing to snow. North of the Albemarle Sound, the beach is still in rain as the low is out over about 25 to, that's looking at that map, it's probably about more like 50 to 100 miles offshore. But right out there where the Gulf Stream is, starting to pick up all that energy and starting to get ramped up. You can see the biggest impact, the biggest thing we are worried about. Notice how these isobars are starting to tighten up. These are what gives you, that's your pressure changes. As that tightens up, that means the winds are really going to start pick up. And I'll go to that windy map that we like to use because it really is going to give us an idea what these winds are going to do. This would be at 6 a.m. on Saturday. It's already up off of New Jersey. It's already dropped to 981 millibars. So you're getting down there into that hurricane territory. There's the snowfall for much of eastern North Carolina, except for south of Argan Inlet. You're going to stay in rain. But the isobars, the winds are really starting to crank up by Saturday morning. Midday Saturday, it's off Cape Cod at 973 millibars. They're getting a blizzard. We're getting, the snow's just about done. The precipitation maybe ending as a little bit of snow in the air on Hatteras and Ocracoke, but nothing accumulating down there out of this. But you can see pretty strong north winds that may help us a little bit with the potential for overwash at high tide. We'll see some dune run up. We're going to see some big waves. We're probably going to look at 8 to 12-foot surf, but we're not going to see it for all that long as far as the wind driven for us. But by the time we get into Sunday night or Saturday night, there it is. There's the low off of Cape Cod at 963 millibars. That's going to be a hurricane force storm moving off of New England. So Maine and Massachusetts on down to Connecticut, New York. But really it's going to be Cape Cod are going to get slammed with this thing. And then by Sunday morning, it's already up over the Maritimes of Canada. And you can see we're going to more of a northwest flow back over us. That'll help knock down the waves. The one thing we do have to be concerned about is the longer period swell that's going to come off this storm. Although it is moving pretty quickly, it may not have an opportunity to build its things up. I have not looked at a wave watch forecast yet because just haven't had time to look at that. Everybody's been wanting to talk about the snow, but we do need to be concerned about the possibilities of overwash. We had that front go through last night that shifted us to the north. And if I go back real quick now to our live shot from Corolla, you can see the waves, not all that bad, but you can see it's a little angry out there. It's they need to clean that lens for us. Jeanette's Pier looked a lot rougher this morning. Yeah, there's Jeanette's right now. This is, or just south of Jeanette's at the Comfort Inn South and Whalebone Junction. It is getting a little angry out there this morning. Then we go down to Avon, not so bad. Really, the worst of the, it looks worse here on the north beaches than it does down south right now. And that'll kind of stay that way today because we're looking at winds at 20 to 30 today out of the north after that front pass. And that's going to start the wave action, and that wave action is just going to continue into the weekend. But the wave watch forecast, that's the one that we really need to look at to see if we're going to be dealing with an overwash potential out of this storm system, along with the winter weather. Canadian model, that was the GFS. This is the American model that we looked at. Here's the Canadian. We'll just kind of run through this one a little quicker. Low starts up Friday afternoon at noon, a little bit closer. Canadian model keeps it much closer. This is, the CMC. Yeah, it keeps it much closer to shore by Friday night, down to 1,002 millibars off the South Carolina, North Carolina border. Then it's almost due east of us by midnight on Saturday. Not this one keeps it closer to the shore, so that means we'd be in more rain for longer. Then as it gets up off of New Jersey, bombing out, and then the snow as a wraparound around 6 a.m. By noon on Saturday, the moisture is just about offshore, but this thing is almost lined up perfectly to hit Cape Cod at 970, down to 961 after it passes Cape Cod, 963 as it gets up off Maine, and then it takes it on in to Labrador, or into Nova Scotia, rather, by mid-morning or Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Don't have the European model because they're all pretty much so. The windy will give us a better idea on those. This is what the European model is looking at. Here's our north winds already today, and those are going to continue right on through the day today. Maybe pick up out of the north, a little bit of a northeast component in this. Hatteras Island, you're probably going to stay in the winds. This is how things look tomorrow. They kind of back down tomorrow morning. We'll jump on ahead to Friday by midday. Not much flow there, but you can see the disturbance. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at, we didn't have the graphics up there. Let's go back. Apologize for that. Didn't do the screen share for you. All right, we'll go back to today. Here's how things look today with the wind model from the European. Here for us, seeing that northerly flow, that's going to continue all day long. Going to be rather chilly with highs only around 40. Jump ahead to this time tomorrow. The wind's kind of back down, although on Hatteras and Ocracoke still up in the 20s. Then by Friday morning, it's very rather sedate. We'll get a break from the wind by Friday morning. Friday afternoon, it's still that way. Then by Saturday morning, midnight, I'll go back Friday night. So Friday night, we start seeing things starting to pick up down south. By midnight Saturday, we see our strongest winds, possibly staying just offshore. That's a big help there. And it's going to be mostly a northern fetch. So down on Hatteras, north end, P Island, Rodanthe, you're probably looking at the potential for some overwash there. Then we get the strong winds out of the northwest. European model by the northwest by the afternoon. That's a big help. But that doesn't help with the sound side situation. We could see some sound side flooding along Hatteras and Ocracoke by Saturday afternoon. By Sunday, it's pretty much more of a northwesterly flow. Still out of the northwest, not quite as strong, but enough to keep that water up. Go back to Saturday night. There's Saturday night. Really a strong northwest blow as that storm system gets on up north of us. And, you see this thing right here. That's a monster nor'easter hitting New England. The putting winds in the 60s and 70s coming in out of the northeast right onto Cape Cod. So they're going to be the primary focus out of this nor'easter, I'm sure, from our friends in the national media. We're going to be looking at snow possibly Friday night into Saturday morning. And again, the snowfall forecast right now all depend on how close this low tracks to the Outer Banks. So there you go. That is what we're looking at as the latest. Let's see. Here's the GFS. This is kind of what from Tropical Update, Mike's weather page, spaghettymodels.com. GFS puts the highest amount of snowfall in northeastern North Carolina, and the Euro may be overcooking it a little bit as far as its snowfall totals. Talking like 9 inches right up on the north tip of Virginia Beach and into the eastern shore, and then 11, 12, maybe as high as 28 on the Jersey shore, 15 out on Cape Cod. That's the Euro. It's overcooking it. We saw that overcook its snowfall estimates with the last storm. GFS was pretty close. The forecast nailed it last time. Looks like the forecast are nail it this time as well. That's a good thing. There's something very interesting. This is from about midday yesterday from the National Weather Service, Boston. They'd like to emphasize this weekend storm not even begin to develop off the Carolinas for another 48 hours. That's true. That is true. But the Weather Prediction Center, this was from yesterday afternoon. They're talking about the probability of 3 inches of snow Friday night through Saturday night. Pretty decent chance all the way up the I-95 corridor and east. Significant coastal impacts to the northeast, heavy snow likely in parts of New England. And here on the Outer Banks, we're looking at a relatively quick, but we're the birthplace of nor'easters like this. All right, it is OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube. Let's check all of our folks here out on the comments. Since we can't see those live like we used to, still got to sort that out. I don't understand why this app wants to not work the way it's supposed to on my phone with the Book of Faces. All right, so get the display out of there. Y'all want to see the ocean. You don't want to see that. Okay, let's see. Yep, good morning, everybody. Good morning, George up in Connecticut. Get ready. It's coming for you. Myrtle Beach, good morning. Laura and Manio, good morning. Elberon, Virginia. Charles, thanks for checking in. My man Dan, he's hitting us up. Rebecca down in Florida. Snow Leopard in Manio. Leanne up in Nunda, New York, where it's 12 degrees. Keep it. Y'all can keep that stuff. We don't need it. Yeah, Merman, we're all ready for spring. There was one tweet I saw from National Weather Service Morehead City said February is supposed to be above normal for temperatures for us. Bring it. Let's go. All right. More OBX Today Live is straight ahead here on this Wednesday morning, so stick around.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
Our pet of the week for this week is Dorothy. Dorothy has been with us at the shelter for far too long and just wants to click her heels together to disappear to her forever home. Dorothy is 13 years old and was found as a stray. She may only have one eye, but that doesn't stop her from finding you and getting tons of love. She is super affectionate and very healthy for her age. To adopt Dorothy or foster one of our other animals, you can come visit us Monday through Sunday at our shelter located in Manio. The Donna Hannah Walker Fund has allowed the SPCA to waive all adoption fees of senior animals, so Dorothy is able to be taken home free of adoption fees. For more information, visit our website at www.obxspca.org or visit our OBX SPCA Facebook page.
Back here on OBX Today Live on Facebook and YouTube, I'm Sam Walker. Glad to have you with us on this Thursday morning. And let's head down to Ocracoke, now, because we've got a story still in progress, if you will, developing story there from Ocracoke. Yesterday morning, had another boat wash up. That photo from the National Park Service yesterday, about 1 o'clock yesterday morning, a 55-foot motor yacht ended up on South Beach in Ocracoke, known as the Vivens Aqua. It was bought by a couple out of Baltimore. They were on their way from picking up on Palm Coast down in Florida and had been up the Intracoastal Waterway. They got to Morehead City and decided, you know what, let's save a little time. That storm's coming. Let's get on up as far as we can, and decided to go out of Beaufort Inlet, go around Cape Lookout, try to navigate Diamond Shoals. Well, they got off Ocracoke and said, hey, you know what, let's head on inside. They've been doing about 70 miles a day for about a week. It was calm yesterday, calm on Monday. So they decided to leave the Intracoastal Waterway, head out to Morehead City, took to the ocean. But around 7:30, after it got dark, Scott decided, the owner, Scott Pumphrey of Baltimore, with his wife Karen, they decided, hey, let's go into Ocracoke. And they tried to, and then the steering started not cooperating. And so Scott, the master of the boat, said, all right, found a red beacon, red right return, put it on the right. And the next thing they knew they're on South Beach. Not too hard to do if you're not familiar with how the inlets and such are marked. You know, a red light doesn't always mean that's a channel marker, especially if where they ended up. And here's where they ended up, at least according to marinetraffic.com, the latest from them. And let's see here. Let me go to display 2. There we go. All right, so here is, let me turn my graphics off. Lower thirds off. There we go. All right, so here is Ocracoke Village up here. There's the south tip of Ocracoke, also known as South Beach. Here's Ocracoke Inlet. Here's Portsmouth Island. And here is the Vivens Aqua. As of 12 hours ago, that was the last position for marine traffic. So didn't quite make it out here. Probably lined up with a red light that was out in the Pamlico Sound, or even a red light that was showing from somewhere in Ocracoke, and ended up beaching it. Just as you may have heard that text come through. That was Boone Vansra, who is the National Park Service Chief Ranger for Cape Hatteras National Seashore. And he just replied back because they were in the process of trying to tow her out last night. Owners had made arrangements with Cape Dredging, which is a company out of Buxton, to handle the tow. Let's see. Let me go back here. Let me switch that off. So there she is on South Beach. This is ramps. Oh, no, hang on. I'm on the wrong screen. So here's ramp 72. Last ramp on Ocracoke. That's where you get to that ramp as you come into the village. There's Howard's Pub here. There's Jason's Restaurant. And also Trade Winds Tackle. There's right there. Howard's. And here's ramp 72. You take ramp 72 on down, and this is the road to go. Well, that was the road. Yeah, that's the road that takes you up to that part. You keep going, wind on down, get on South Beach. Here's South Beach itself. This is technically South Beach, but this is the South Beach area, and there she is. There's the Vivens Aqua as of, still there. I need to text this to Jody. Give me a second here, because we'll go back to our ocean scenes, and because I need to let Jody know while he's still on his show, the latest there from the Vivens Aqua. But so what's happening is Cape Dredging is a company out of Buxton who's handled a lot of the tows. They've handled the pullouts with that island packet that washed ashore at Avon. Jay Phillips, who has a repair business there on Hatteras Island, is also the Hatteras Sailing Program. I don't think he's in town right now, so he's not handling this one. Okay, I did get that to Jody. Yeah. Okay. But Darren Burris from Cape Dredging is actually helping these folks out to try and get their boat off the bar. But Boone just told us the National Park Service, they're going to have to wait till high tide to get her out. Needed some more water to tow it out, because they were going to try last night, put a rope on it and tie it even at low tide, just enough to get it floated, but the water wasn't high enough. Of course, now we got this north blow that makes things a little more challenging to try and get her off of the bar there. Here's a photo from Connie Leinbach at Ocracokeobserver.com. Let's see, who is that? That is, there we go. Yeah, Byron Atkinson, who's Park Service Ranger down on Ocracoke, talking to Scott Humphreys, who's the owner there on the boat. He stayed with it. Him and his wife stayed with the vessel. They weren't really in danger. She had gotten hard aground. But Darren Burris got Scott's wife Karen off, got her to the ferry, and then she's going to head back home to Baltimore. Scott's going to hang around, get her towed into Ocracoke, get some repairs done, but probably going to have to wait the storm out now until this nor'easter gets out of here on after the weekend. So that's the latest there. And again, they are going to try and get her towed off today from South Beach and Ocracoke. So if you're so inclined, want to go down and see another shipwreck, there's another one here on the Outer Banks. Fourth one we've had wash ashore this season. Since late November, we had the shrimp trawler, one of the shrimp trawlers that washed up and was gone by the end of the day in Frisco back in November. Then another trawler that washed up at Southern Shores, took about a week to get it off, and then had that sailboat that washed up off Avon, and it took about a week, a couple of days to get it repaired. So the fourth grounding we've had this off season here on the Outer Banks. We know that always is something a lot of folks like to talk about. Let's see. Oh, yes, Susan, thank you. It is Wednesday, not Thursday. It feels like a Thursday for some reason. I don't know why. But, yeah, it is Wednesday. John, thanks for the comments and the compliments about what we got here. That's what we like to do, just get out the information on what's happening here on the Outer Banks and what else is going on. All right, so there you go. That's the latest on the grounded ship at Ocracoke. Yesterday, the North Carolina State Parks, North Carolina Division of Cultural Resources, putting out its annual release on attendance figures for the state parks around North Carolina. And once again, Jockey's Ridge State Park is the number one most visited state park in North Carolina. 1.8 million visitors last year, down about 100,000 for the previous year. And the way that they do that is the number of vehicles, similar to how Cape Hatteras National Seashore tracks its numbers, number of vehicles that drive across the counter that's set up as you come into the park. The two entrances. You got the main entrance on Carolista Drive in Nags Head. Then you've got the other entrance down on the south end of the park on the sound side, where the sound side access, and they just use traffic counters, estimate the number of people. Yeah, they throw it together statistically. That visitation probably is much higher because of the number of people that walk over from Kitty Hawk Kites across the crosswalk into the park. So 1.9, still great. 1.8 this year. 22.8 million visitors in 2021 to the 41 state parks and sites, recreation sites that are covered there. That's more than 3 million above any other year on record. The previous record, of course, set in 2020 for both Jockey's Ridge State Park and the state parks in North Carolina overall. 10 parks total reached 1 million visitors in 2021. That's up from 7 the previous year. Carolina Beach, Eno River, Fort Macon. Fort Macon for many years was the most popular state park, and then Jockey's Ridge passed it. Pilot Mountain and Umstead State Park, which of course is that urban state park, if you will. That's not urban, but that stretch that's right around the RDU airport. Carolina Beach, of course, on the southeast coast. Eno River, which is out on the other side of Durham. Fort Macon, which is on the central coast. Pilot Mountain, which everybody knows. The iconic Mountain on the other side of Winston-Salem. Falls Lake, which is north of Raleigh, Fort Fisher State Park down the southeast coast, Jordan Lake on the south side of the triangle, and then Carr Lake up on the other side, the central, along the state line between South Hill and Roxborough. So those are the top visited parks that topped 1 million this past year in North Carolina. But again, Jockey's Ridge, again, number one at 1.8 million visitors. We should be getting here very shortly, if by the end of the week, we should be getting the final visitation numbers for Cape Hatteras National Seashore, Wright Brothers National Memorial, and Fort Raleigh National Historic Site. We do know that those numbers top 3 million for Cape Hatteras National Seashore for the first time. So we'll get the final December numbers added onto those totals to get the final total for 2021, which was a record-breaking year for visitation, as we know from everything else. All the numbers reflect it. All right, take a break, come back here on this Wednesday edition. Yes, it is Wednesday, hump day edition of OBX Today Live, so stay around.
For over 15 years, Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated has been a beacon of light, guiding local families through difficult times. Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated proudly provides all families with compassionate choices for professional funeral care at reasonable prices. Get the answers you need 24 hours a day. No answering services, hidden costs, add-on fees, confusing fine print, or those scary-looking contracts. Remember, Gallup Funeral Services owns and operates the only crematory in Dare County, keeping our cremations affordable and convenient. Gallup Memorial Chapel in Bargo, North Carolina is now open and minutes from Moyock and Elizabeth City. From traditional church services and graveside burials to direct cremations and advanced planning, let Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated light the way for your family. Don't be pressured or confused by the other funeral homes. It's always your choice. Choose Gallup Funeral Services Incorporated. Call Courtney at 252-216-8030 to get a plan started today, and visit our new website at gallupfuneralservices.com.
So this is actually my first Community Watch luncheon that I've been able to participate in. So we're talking a luncheon that basically is a payback to police and our public safety partners, fire, to just a thank you to us for the service we do to the community all year. The Community Watch program has been in existence for a long time. In fact, Community Watch technically has been in existence ever since policing has been in existence. Community Watch essentially is building trust and transparency, building relationships between law enforcement and the community. I think it's educational as well. Not only education for the community to understand why we do what we do, but for us to understand what the community expects of us, of their law enforcement. Because sometimes those two expectations don't marry up. You know, fortunately in Ag's Head, our concerns are ones that are manageable. You know, we have concerns of, say, speeding in neighborhoods, and sometimes they cross over too. Some issues cross over to like trash pickup or coyotes. You know, sometimes those issues get brought up. But a lot of traffic issues where, you know, maybe a light's not functioning properly, and then we can liaison with DOT and try to get some of those things worked out. So it's just a whole host of issues that can be brought up. Sometimes you'll get calls about concerns that, hey, is this just a concern, or is this something that needs to be elevated for a response? So those are kind of things we can triage and help them through.
I'm Tom Saperito, and I've been here for 22 years. I've been involved with the Community Watch about 18 of those years. And the experience has been really gratifying, particularly in my relationship with the fire and police department. And I think that the community is served very well by the Community Watch. We are able to do things for the police and fire department that are not done any other way, and that is we can raise money so that we can buy them things that are not budgeted. And sometimes those things are very important. Most of the meetings we have are with Shane Allen, who is our community officer. And Shane has been a terrific addition to our organization because he is kind of the person that focuses all of the public awareness.
My current role and assignment is the community policing officer. for the PD. I serve as a liaison between the police department and the Community Watch Association, which is made up of members throughout the community. And I do a lot of things between the police department and them, like we're helping arrange monthly meetings. They are heavily involved in like our National Night Out and Coffee with the Cop and other events such as that.
I just want to be involved with my community so that they can try and keep themselves safe. I just have a respect for our police department, and I have a love for what they do because they do it unselfishly. To be a small town like Nags Head is, I would say we have one of the best departments in the state.
It's just very, to me, very comforting to know that we have individuals in our community like this who will step up and help.
Obviously, we have a beautiful place that we all work and live in, and having a good relationship with our community helps strengthen that as well.
All right, back on OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Sam Walker as we wind it down on this Wednesday morning. Thank you, Susan. Dare County hit 6,999 positive resident cases for coronavirus yesterday, so we'll hit most likely 7,000 today. The total number of positive cases in Dare County that have been tested is also almost to 10,000, 9,965. That includes non-residents who've been tested in Dare County. Of course, the testing numbers only reflect the tests that are reported to the health departments. It doesn't reflect all the at-home tests people are taking and aren't reporting, aren't required to report them. 13 people from Dare County have been hospitalized as of yesterday's report. North Carolina hit a new record yesterday for hospitalizations with 5,055 patients in yesterday's report. And the daily test rate, positive test rate, one out of every three for an 8 straight day in North Carolina, 36.3% positive yesterday. That's also a new record. Dare County only trailing Beaufort County at 10,683, and Pasquotank County was 7,213 for the most total number of resident cases in northeastern North Carolina. And what we call our coverage area, which we consider 10 counties for our radio stations. I'll say northeastern North Carolina, and people will throw, Greenville. And yes, but our 10 counties, we consider the far northeast as our coverage area. That's all the numbers there. We've got, of course, the latest COVID-19 update from Dare Health and Human Services posted at obxtoday.com. Coming up Friday, let's see, Outer Banks Forever, are the nonprofit that supports the 3 national parks here on the Outer Banks, invites you for the first Pints for Parks event. That'll be at Swelsa Brewing. That's on the Beach Road in Nags Head, Friday evening from 6 until 9 p.m. Portions of the proceeds from the evening supports Outer Banks Forever's mission to protect and enhance our 3 national parks here: Cape Hatteras National Seashore, Wright Brothers National Memorial, and Fort Raleigh National Historic Site. Of course, Outer Banks Forever doing all these great upgrades and all these pretty cool events like this. To get more details, just go on the Things to Do page at obxtoday.com. That's Friday night. It's going to happen because it's going to just be rain and wind. Itchy nose. I don't know why. But Friday, 6 to 9, just going to be rain and wind. Typical Friday night on the Outer Banks. So that event's still going to happen. The Outer Banks Coast Guard Auxiliary, who we've had the pleasure of having on previously. And we're going to get them back on here on OBX Today Live to talk about some of the things they got coming up and some different events, tips, and things like that. Their new flotilla commander has been installed. Jack Horst relieved Tim Baker, who served as flotilla commander for the past 2 years. So Jack Horst now flotilla commander for the Outer Banks Coast Guard Auxiliary. They've got one of their boating education courses, boating safety education courses coming up in March. They're taking registration now. I'm going to get the link to that posted up on how you can register at obxtoday.com on the H2O page. I'm going to do that today. Also today, the Ferry Division has the first of their 4 upcoming job fairs here in coastal North Carolina. This one's going on in Elizabeth City today at the NC Works Center at Jordan Plaza. That's adjacent to Southgate Mall in Elizabeth City. Now, you don't have to go to these job fairs if you want to get a job with the ferry division. They need folks. You can go to any of the ferry terminals. So Hatteras Village, Ocracoke, also here at in Ocracoke or Swan Quarter or Cedar Island, and you can apply in person. You can also apply at the North Carolina Shipyard, which is located in Mans Harbor. But they are taking applications for all positions at all experience levels, from entry-level parking lot attendants to boat captains, temporary summer employment or a full-time job, whatever you're looking for. That's what you can find with the North Carolina Ferry Division. We talked about our snowy owl here on last week. Connie Marcy got us the first pictures we'd seen of a snowy owl in the Outer Banks this winter, up in Kitty Hawk at there at Milepost 4. And then there were some pictures that floated up later that morning from Avalon Pier. Hadn't really heard anything from Pea Island. Usually we see Pea Island become kind of the mecca for the snowy owl to hang out before it heads south each of the last couple of years. Well, it turns out snowy owls decided, hey, I'm going to jump on down to Hatteras Island. And here you go. This is from Jennifer Fontanini. There's the Hatteras Ferry right there. So this is out off the Pole Road down on southern Hatteras Island the other day. Joy Chris got a story up at islandfreepress.org. But there's a picture of snowy owl with the ferry in the background there on the Pole Road. And Jennifer Fontanini got pictures of it down that way. It was spotted in Frisco earlier in the day. Man, there's some great shots sitting there on that sand fence debris there off the Pole Road, which is ramp 55, the south tip of Hatteras Island. So snowy owl still around, already heading farther south. We'll see if our buddy Peter Vankevich at the Ocracoke Observer, I'm sure he's all excited being able to get out and see the snowy owl on Ocracoke. He was the first to really write about that a couple of years ago when it first made its first appearance here on the Outer Banks a couple of years ago. You can check those photos out. Go to islandfreepress.org. And we've shared that link on all our social media directly to it, so you can go to our Facebook page and click over if you so desire. All right, just about done here on OBX Today Live. I'll hit some sports real quick. Carolina Hurricanes in overtime last night beat Las Vegas 4-3. One college basketball game, Duke edged Clemson 71-69. Full slate tonight. North Carolina hosts Boston College at 7. Old Dominion travels to Charlotte at 7. Virginia Tech home to take on Miami at 7. And NC State's at Notre Dame at 9. High school basketball tonight. We've got a couple of good rivalry matchups. First Flight at Manio. Northeastern's at Camden. Northside at Southside. Perquimans at Tarboro. And Pungo Christian at Northeast Academy. NFL, Sean Payton stepping away after 16 years as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Looks like he's rumored that he's going to go to Fox, replace Troy Aikman, because Troy Aikman's going to go to the streaming side for the Thursday night games, because we're not going to see Thursday night games on broadcast anymore, cable. They're only going to be streamed. And it looks like Troy Aikman's going to go to that coverage on Amazon and break up that partnership he's had with Joe Buck forever. And it looks like Sean Payton's going to step into that chair as the A-team for Fox on the NFL. Baseball, Big Papi, Boston's David Ortiz, the only selection for the Hall of Fame class this year. OBX Today Weather Center forecast now for today, for this Wednesday. See, I'll make sure I get it right. We're looking at cloudy skies to partly sunny, little breezy and chilly, high of only 40 with north winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. Clear tonight, a low 31 with north winds of 15 to 20, gusts to 25. Sunny on Thursday, we'll get up to 43. Winds will back down to north at 10 to 15. Then Friday, mostly cloudy. The rain starts as the low begins to develop offshore. High 47. Friday night, rain for the beaches, changing to snow as we get towards daybreak. A low down to 30, and it's going to be blustery. Then snow mixed with rain through the day. It's going to be a longer event now as far as how long we get the precipitation now on Saturday. So it's going to be snow mixing with some rain on the beaches, all snow inland, and a high of 40 and windy on Saturday. Then sunny, breezy, and 38. 46 and sunny Monday. Tuesday, sunny and 50 to get into February. We'll get back into the 50s. Yay! Coastal marine forecast today, small craft advisory in effect. Winds out of the north at 20 to 30 knots, 2 to 3 foot waves in the sounds, and seas of 5 to 8 feet. Next tide change at Oregon Inlet's a high tide at 2:08 this afternoon. Sunset tonight, 5:23. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:05. Currently, we've got a mixture of clouds and sun and 36 degrees outside our studios in uptown Nags Head. Oh, we lost our shot there. Sorry. Went gray. Not sure why we've lost all of our video feeds. Oh, well. Let's see if that... Okay, yeah. Looks like our friends at Surf Check's having a little issue there as far as the beach cams go. All right. That is going to do it for OBX Today Live for this Wednesday, January the 26th, 2022. Back tomorrow. We'll have updates at obxtoday.com as we get more from the National Weather Service on our next winter storm, nor'easter. We're going to get pounded, but it's really going to be a big one for the Mid-Atlantic and New England. You folks that like to watch us from up there, it's going to be a typical nor'easter. It's going to blow. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one, everybody.